Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have no vowels and see no alternative but to change. I don't think I have a single valid word. And I'm going to keep just the R. And I still have no vowels. Okay. I think I may be changing again. If opponent provides an E, I could play rec. That may be better than changing. Through an A, I would have gawk. And depending on score, that may be better than changing also. But pretty unusual situation. I don't recall ever having an all consonant first rack, changing 6 or 7 tiles and having all consonants again. Now I'm recording this. Oh wow, that's a bit of a different type of rack to the ones I've been facing. But I do have Rick here for 32. That's certainly better than changing. And I don't think I can play off more than 4 tiles or score more than this. Wow, there are some vowels in the bag. Fantastic. But still, I think away from a bingo. I do have the ing ending through the I on the board, but not seeing a bingo in that spot. Dugong is good. That would play off 6 of my tiles. There's very little worth preserving on this rack. No E's, R's, S's or blanks, which are my favourite tiles. Rick only takes an S after it, and I think nothing in front of it. Possibly an A, but I don't think so. Okay, so opponent is certainly having the better of it in the early stages of the game. A few more floaters, but I don't think anything is going to give me a bingo. I've got the out prefix, but the rest is pretty hopeless. So I can play dugongs here, setting up opponent's Z. And I'm not seeing any other spot for this word. And any play on that triple letter square would open column 1. And in any event, I'm so far behind that it's probably worthwhile creating a hotspot, because benefiting from it may be my only route back. Dugongs for 22. Or I could play gun dogs in the same spot, avoiding that. And I'm back to 7 consonants. Wow, I think I've offended the Scrabble gods. Very unusual situation. So, should I be changing here? I think so. Not only are these 7 consonants, but there's very little synergy between them. I could play bung through the U, but that's for a low score. And a pretty ropey 4 consonant keep. So there are floating vowels on the board. U and O in gun dogs, A in sea woman. But I think this rack is beyond redemption. No more blanks to come. Opponent has greedily used both of them in the early stages of the game. But still 62 tiles in the bag. Now, ISC has changed. They have finally updated their dictionary to remove the slurs. So just to confirm that, let me put in the most egregious slur of all. And there you go, peckerwood invalid. And I never got to play that. So back to this rack. Opponent slowing down and appears to have quite a few vowels, but I am going to change. And I could keep a T, but there's still 4 to come, so I'm changing 7. And I do draw a T. and certainly an improvement over all previous racks. However, I'm not seeing a 7 or an 8. That's how grim this rack is. I would have tails slide through a disconnected S and E. That's not going to happen. But it's easy to become disconsolate when faced with a run of racks like this. And one must guard against that, because there may be a bingo in an unsuspecting rack. So is there really no bingo here? I've got the AL and IAL ending. Where are the floaters? What about this E? Not seeing anything. Nice play by opponent. And nice floaters. Do any of them assist? What about Dialist? A maker of sundials. Whoops, not getting tripled, unfortunately. But is it good? Yes, it is. Wow, fantastic. And I draw the Z for the dugong spot that I switched to gun dogs. However, can I still get value from it? Well, nothing super hot. There's the E of Peary. I could play Tsar in that spot for over 40 points. Oh, wow. Oh, no. I thought I had Z-O-E-A-E, but I've only got one E. And I don't think it's Z-O-A-E-A, which of course I do have. I'm not sure on that, and I should be. Anyway, let's see if that stays available, and I'll have another think. But ZA or ZO, certainly good. Okay, well, opponent takes out the longer option. If I play ZO, then Tho takes an E front hook, which I do have, but there are 5 unseen. So what about playing Tsar, leaving a better rack leave and not creating that spot? There's still the whole of the bottom of the board, which is accessible through the floaters Inner Jews and Sea Woman. This rack leave is pretty decent. 48 points is pretty decent. If there were a U, I could play Zouave. Oh, wow, and there is. So what about doing this instead? It's 56 points, which is more. I'm getting rid of the V, which was non-bingo-y. The Z isn't terribly easy to use. If opponent simply doesn't have Z plays which hits the triple, then it may well stay open, and I could hit that myself. And 56 points, pretty decent. I think this overall is a better play. Well, I'm back to my consonant-heavy racks, which is annoying. I thought I'd left those behind. But opponent has had a few vowel-heavy racks, as you can see with Peary and Jews, so it doesn't mean that my racks have... It doesn't mean that my racks indicate that there's an excess of vowels in the remaining pool. Now, opponent does have the tiles to take advantage of the Z, so I still trail by 100. What am I going to do with this rack? And is there a bingo? There clearly isn't a 7 with only one vowel, but there are a lot of floating vowels. So this rack plus an A. No. What about an E? The E of a Jew's more accessible. No. I. No. Oh. No, so how to sort this rack out and keep scoring. What about a something GH play? If I had an E, I could play peg in that spot. But I'm not seeing anything. I don't want to take out bingo floaters. I need to keep the board open. What about column 13? It would be nice to preserve my A. There's only 2 to come, and I'm short on vowels. Let me count the remaining vowels. 13 out of 37. There are hardly any vowels left. Well, opponent has been dominating the vowel distribution. I guess I did have some with zouave. But what can I do here? 13 minutes on my clock. And this is the last S. It's not a particularly S-friendly board. However, there are lots of bingo lanes, so it is worth hanging on to the S. And I'm not seeing anywhere hot to play it. So I'd like to play P and H for score. PHT is good. Does that play anywhere? Well, it makes path, which is taking out the A, but it's creating a new lane in row L. But the score is just wretched. What about staff? Oh, the score is less than 20 and I'm burning my vowel and taking out bingo lanes. That's not best. I'm taking a while on this move because I think it's a critical one. Now, row A is a bingo lane beginning with C, which goes well with the H. So could I perhaps get rid of D and P somewhere? It's this TE lane and IR lane which look like they could be useful. But I'm not seeing any THE words. 11 minutes on my clock. Accused is good. But the best I can see there is dad, which I don't like. 25 points. Well, I am taking a while on this play. It's a tricky one. This E is such a useful floater, and the I is if I could only sort the rest of the rack out. But how can I do that? Elk is good. That doesn't get me anywhere. What about paths? 28 points, keeping D and L. 10 minutes on my clock. I'm just taking a while on this play because I have not seen any decent candidate play. If I play through the O, I could play Holp, but it doesn't score very much, and it takes out the A as a bingo floater, which isn't good. I don't want to block row A. What about this for 8 points? Tempting opponent to play down from the P. Or what about this? What could go in front of the hop that's left? Nothing. Just my S. Okay, and this isn't blocking the A. I'm going with this hop for 8. And opponent may burn points trying to take out this danger. I have Stadley. I don't think there's anywhere for it. Well, there is. There's column 1. Good grief. Will that stay available? So, supposing it doesn't, what can I do? Nothing beginning with the C. 8 minutes on my clock, 14 on opponents. What about the E? Steadily. Oh, my word, I am bingoing. I am bingoing. My word. What a turnaround. Great, opponent gets just 26 points. I've got steadily. Do I have anything down from the F? No. Steadily does get doubled. That's good. Could there be anything better? I don't think so. And there's still 26 tiles in the bag. So steadily for 78. And I draw the X. And I'm just 40 points behind. Quite a balanced rack. 3 vowels, 4 consonants. Not seeing a 7 with this rack, although it's not massively far away from one. I have mixture. Good grief, I actually have a bingo on my rack. It doesn't play, but I do have mixture. Add mixture is good. That's not available. And, well, only 22 points for opponent, but my word, look at this. Look at this. I have mixture here. It doesn't play anywhere else. Oh, it's putting the X underneath this double word square. But surely this has to be the play. Mixture for 89. Bang! Come on, register. Don't steal my thunder. Oh, it has registered. Okay, and this is my new rack, and I'm now leading. Good grief. But that's surely short-lived. Opponent must be playing above the X. If they don't, I certainly am. No bingo with this rack. But I should check because it is balanced. There is a floating C. Carbinol is good if the A were an I. But I'm not seeing anything. Wow, the remaining pool is pretty grim. Big tiles in the J and the Q, but no I or U for the Q. My opponent's got an E for the X. Well, let me focus on my own rack. What a stroke of good fortune with hurting. I thought that was a bingo at first, but it wasn't. Only 30 points, so I lead by 1. I have an O for OXO. 4 tiles in the bag. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. If this game had been played last week, I could have played Abo in this spot, which would have been the perfect play. Over 30 points, and that's no longer good. 7 minutes on my clock. But I do have the O. Is there anything I want to keep in case I draw the Q? Well, there's QI above the I of vinted. There's the U of mixture. So I just need to keep one A to be guaranteed to play in that spot. There's nowhere super hot for the Q. So I can play lab for 25. Flab is good, so I don't like that. 6 minutes on my clock. I could play bow for 21. And another tricky position. That's 21. That's 23. But this sets up a spot for the F and the J, so I think this 1 point sacrifice is worth doing. There are no O's left, so I could keep my O. But does opponent have a play in row M? Not going underneath the O, but just going underneath the M and the B. That might score well. Jet, so I think I have to play here. What about playing bar for 16? I've then got an O for O bar. Opponent can have nothing to go in front of BA, but they still play jet. But if they play jet, that's putting a J over this triple word square, where I can place my A. I could play AL. What would jet score? Only 33 points. Jet A 35. This is 16. I lead by 1. I would trail. That would give me the lead back. Quite tempting. Although it's ordinarily one would like to leave 1 in the bag, I'm not keen on drawing this Q. So I am minded to go with this. Bar for 16. I dodge the Q. And I draw the Y, which is a nice tile. Don't have anything beginning with the C, I don't think. This is going to be a very, very close end to the game. The remaining tiles are horrible with the limited number of vowels. Vowels are gold dust in the end game, and most of them are on my rack. Wow, it would have been so cool to go out with a bingo from this C. But that option isn't available. I lead by 17, but the game is not in the bag. 2 tiles in the bag. Opponent could play 1, leaving the Q or the J in the bag. My Y can go under. Opponent plays just the Q. Fantastic. So there is 1 tile in the bag. What to do? So I have 4 minutes. Is there really no 7 here? It would probably play in row N. No other lanes apart from the C. I could play royal for 32. What can opponent do with the J? Not very much. What can if I draw the J, what can I do? And I'd really like to have 2 outs if I draw the J. So is there a longer play in row N? I'm short on time, which is a shame. This is a rack which would benefit from more time. There must be a way of playing off 6 tiles. 5 tiles ending in Y. Ah, what about nearly? I can play nearly for 47 points. I'm keeping the O. If I draw the J, I've got J-O-E, and I've got joy, literally. So, is this the play? Nearly for 47. Ordinarily, you would think that providing access to triple word squares would be really bad. But look at the remaining pool. E's do go underneath the Y, but opponent doesn't have a J play in row O, and if the J's in the bag, the best they can do is F'd for a lowly score, and 47 for nearly is massive. I am going with this. And it's an E in the bag. So opponent's got F and J and only one vowel. I think this game is close to being in the bag. So what's the best I can do with E and O? I've got Evo through the V for 12. Let me do this methodically. I'm going left to right first, then I'll go up and down, just down. 24 for opponents. Great. So I've got 2 minutes to find what's best here with E and O. So I've got OE here for 12, which is the same as Evo. I have OES here for 14. That's better. I'm going to leave that in situ. Well, let me remove it because I have it here for 17. Right, quick squiz of the down. Still 1 minute on my clock. No, nothing. Great, I am going with and the final score, 379 to opponent, 449 to me, a winning margin of 70 points, so a huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, that is the most astonishing game. I thought I was dead and buried. And this is how it began. Dreadful rack. And examiner tells you no play. There is literally no playable word with this rack. Opponent's rack, by contrast, has a choice of bingos, plays paynims, which is a nice one. My rack, and I play Rick for 32. Great spot of Sea Woman by opponent, the only playable bingo. And I was toying between dugongs and gundogs. Went with the less volatile option, despite my trailing. Opponent with all these vowels. Plays Peary. And now I think I change again. Nothing over 16, and all these rack leaves have 4 consonants, so changing definitely fine. Opponent still with vowels. Only one S, burns it to play a Jews. And this is where the tide turned. I'm 130 behind. I was feeling sorry for myself with this rack. No scoring tails, no bingo. When a bingo did come to mind, and I had Dialist for 60. So I'm now just 1 bingo behind. Opponent plays Vinted. And I have Zouave for 56. Which looked risky, but I was gambling on getting access to the Z before opponent, and that didn't pay off. Opponent has coups, and I'm back trailing by 90 with a very unbalanced rack. Heptad's G13 may have been worth doing. It's 2/3 of a bingo. Instead, I play Hop for 8, setting up a super hot spot in column 1 for my S. Opponent blocks that with Fog, but I have steadily for 78, and this is the point at which I went from feeling dead and buried to having a scintilla of hope. I trail by 40, but opponent on turn, and I'm now a bingo behind, but I have a bingo. Mixture for 89, and suddenly I have a lead. opponent plays bow. And this is my rack. No bingo. And I spent a while on this, I think. And went with bar for 16, setting up column 1. Ooh, did I set up column 1 and then ignore it? And now as being suggested, M3, but that empties the bag, which I didn't want to do with all the consonants to come. So I play bar. This is opponent's rack. And they play QI, I think. Gosh, I do overlook column 1. Having set up this hook, I only concentrate on row N. But I think nearly is the play. But it's remiss that I failed to consider column 1. But there we go, Nearly and Lani both for 47. And that was such a sweet play. It did absolutely everything it needed to do. And, well, including scoring a massive amount. Poor opponent. Nothing they can do here. They've got Tef for 24. But I go out with O for 17 and get loads on countback and win by a comfortable margin, which is just bizarre given how the initial stages of the game played out. But that is Scrabble. Amazing things can happen on the board, and it's very exciting to be part of that when you have a turnaround that's in your favour. So I'm recording this at a slightly odd time. I have just come back from the National Scrabble Championships over the weekend, which I thought I had entered, but found at the last minute that I hadn't, and the event was full. However, there was a cancellation on the Friday, on the eve of the tournament, and I've been away for 3 days playing, so completely scuppered my anticipated recording schedule. So I'm now recording this just a couple of hours before it goes out, but I'm delighted to have been part of such an amazing game as this one. So many thanks to opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching this game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.